We have two speakers today, Mr. C.A. Vivek Kapoor from Canada and Shri Sushil Kumar Mishra. And now I would like to invite the chairman of Central India Regional Council, Mr. C. Atul Mehrotra, to welcome all the attendees over here. Sir, up to you.
Thank you, Harsh. Good evening to all of you and our two learned faculties for today's virtual program of CIRC. Both the topics are different. We have gone through a lot of physical and virtual meetings on income tax and GST and Companies Act and few more professional topics which are of use of, but we think there is some need of discussions about the professional opportunities and a chartered accountant, the elite profession. So we are in a profession where global opportunities are there, but due to few reasons, few constants, our members may not be able to diversify their professional expertise or expand their personal expertise. And हम सभी लोग एक लिमिटेड दायरे में ही रहते हैं. तो विवेक जी जो हमारे चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हैं, हमारे भारतवर्ष से ही हैं और काफ़ी दो चैप्टर्स का जो हमारे देश से बाहर जो चैप्टर्स हैं उनको दो चैप्टर्स को हेड कर रहे हैं. अभी हर्ष जी बताएंगे उनके बारे में थोड़ा सा आपको. बट हम लोगों का ये रहता है CIRC की तरफ से कि हम अपने मेंबर्स के लिए जो भी बेहतर नॉलेज शेयरिंग है वो हम अपने मेंबर्स तक पहुंचाएं. और उसी कड़ी में हमारा ये प्रयास है कि आज हमारे बीच में विवेक कपूर जी जो कनाडा से ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, सुशील मिश्रा जी जो कानपुर से ही हैं और बहुत ही अच्छे वक्ता हैं दोनों ही लोग. एंड आज के सेशन के बाद आई एम श्योर दैट हमारे मेंबर्स को एक डिफरेंट फील आएगा, एक डिफरेंट दिशा मिल सकती है और एक अच्छे से नेटवर्क बनाने में हम कुछ सोच सकते हैं. सो आई एम thankful to Vivek Kapoor ji and Sushil ji for being with us, for being with our members. I heartily welcome all the members along with our both of faculties of today's VCF. Thank you so much. Over to Harsh.
Thank you, sir, for your welcome address. Our first topic is on global opportunities for CA, which will be taken by CA Vivek Kapoor. Before starting his session, I would like to introduce about him. CA Vivek Kapoor is currently the chairman of Toronto chapter of ICI Canada. He was the chairman of Bahrain chapter of ICI. Under his leadership, Bahrain chapter of ICI was awarded the best overseas chapter of ICI. He is the only CA to be the chairman of 2 international chapters of ICI. Along with this, he also holds 2 master's degrees. He has delivered several sessions as a guest faculty in different management institutes in India. Along with it, he has also trained people for professional courses like CMA and SCCA. Now I would like to welcome Mr. C.A. Vivek Kapoor to just come and to take his session and to give the knowledge to every professional bodies over here.
Thank you, Harsh, and good evening, everyone. Very happy to address our fellow brothers and sisters from the Central India Region Council of ICI. And it's a great privilege and honor to be here. I would like to give my thanks to C. Atul Mehrotra ji. We've been talking for a while, and once again on a formal platform, congratulations for him becoming the chairman of CIRC. Very well deserved and very well recognized personality in the profession, and I'm thankful for him and the team at CIRC for giving me this opportunity to interact with members and share my experience and knowledge with you all for the betterment of the profession overall, and expose you to some secrets which probably you might not be aware sitting in India. And I'm happy to share my experience and knowledge. And before I begin, I would like to request all the members to keep it interactive. While I'll be sharing my screen, I'll not be able to see the questions, but I'll take pauses in between, and Harsh, you could interrupt me if there are so many questions, and I will pause to answer those questions, because the event can only be successful, especially of this kind, when I get specific questions from our members and I'm able to help you address those questions. So I'm just about to share my screen, and Harsh, please, if you can confirm whether the screen is visible, so it will be really helpful
No,
for
sir.
me to
It's
understand.
not visible right now.
Are you able to see my
Yes,
screen?
sir. Yes, sir. Now it is visible, sir.
Thank you, Harsh. Okay, so to begin with, let me just put it in the PowerPoint mode. Yeah. So as we know, the topic is global opportunities for chartered accountants, and I'm going to tell you something which you already know, but I'm going to also tell you something which you probably might not know. So let's look at our areas of work. Everybody is well aware, but I'm giving more of an international perspective. We as chartered accountants, and especially qualifying from ICI, one of the toughest qualifications that everybody of us know. We are specialized in a lot of areas, and this is a comprehensive list, but definitely not a complete list, because our expertise extends into many more areas. But what I've tried to summarize here is general areas of work which we expertise in the international markets, which I have seen. So I spent, as Harsh mentioned in my introduction, I spent almost a decade in Middle East, and I've been here for last 3.5 years, and worked across several organizations, including KPMG, EY, banks, and I work for a bank here in Canada, and I have changed two roles also in the bank. So we specialize in accounting, obviously auditing, direct and indirect tax, which is a prevalent practice across the globe. Business valuation services. We also specialize. Our members are also occupied in compliance, which is the Dodd-Frank Act, etc. We have a great deal of expertise in financial services. So when I say financial, it covers a lot of areas, as banking, credit, operations, domain experts in IT companies like IBM, etc. We also, our members also are working in insurance, which is obviously all sectors of insurance, life, auto, and liability. Liability is something which is not very common in India, but in North America especially, it's a very important element of your insurance sector, because you might have heard stories that people sue you for $1 million or $10 million if they fall outside your house, or if they are visiting your house and they fall inside your house, you're liable to be sued. So there have been cases, for example, uh, you have invited some visitor to your house, and the visitor fell down in your house while climbing up or down the stairs, and the visitor will sue you for $1 million, stating that because you did not maintain the staircase in proper condition, so that's why he fell down, and he had to suffer injury, loss of income, and so on and so forth. In India, for example, when we meet a car accident, then the normal condition over there is we get out of the car, we hurl abuses at each other, sometimes fight erupts, and then sometimes we report into police, or we take money from the other party who was at mistake, and we resolve the matter on our own. But it's not like that in other countries. For example, if I take you example of Middle East, car crashes, we just come out of the car. If we are safe, we call the police, they give us a report, we go to insurance, and we simply claim the insurance, and everything is dependent on the police report whose mistake is there. There's no argument, no conversation when the car crashes. One step further, when you come to North America, especially Canada or US, what happens is if car crashes, same procedure, but one step further, the person who was at mistake, who crashed his car into the other guy, then the other guy is eligible to claim loss of income from the party who was at mistake. So he can claim anywhere between 100,000 to $1 million, depending on how much damage his body suffered because of the other person's mistake. And that is why insurance is a very, very heavy cost in your lifestyle in this part of the world. Our members are also, so yeah, coming back to after those examples, what I'm trying to tell you is that as chartered accountants, we can act as reliable advisors in all these areas of work where we have expertise. Then our members are into real estate advisory, wealth management services. We take care of project financing for a lot of clients, management consulting, mergers and acquisitions, private equity, and transaction advisory. So all these areas of work which we do as practicing chartered accountants or as employees in India are also valid outside. Now, what's the difference? That's very important to understand that you must have heard stories a lot of times that a person went to any country except for Middle East. I'll explain you why I'm saying except Middle East. And then the person sometimes was successful, sometimes the person was not successful. So what are the key reasons and why does that stories come up, and what happens behind the scenes to make or categorize a person as successful or unsuccessful when the person leaves India and goes for in search of better opportunities? Before that, we like numbers, so let me talk something about numbers. I have just tabulated the top 10 countries with highest CA salary, and you can see as starting from UK, Canada is at number 4 as per this source which I got online, and salaries are listed in US dollars, anywhere between 165,000 on the top range to 52,000 at the bottom range. Now, if you look at countries like Sweden, Norway, they have taxation in excess of 50% because everything is taken care by the government. Your health, your schooling, your university education also is taken care by the government in these countries. But as you climb up to say Canada or UK or Ireland or Switzerland, only basic facilities are taken care by the government, like basic health facilities and basic schooling. Other than that, your university has to be funded by you personally as you do it in India. So that's why you see the disparity in income. But these numbers are not to limit us, because as chartered accountants, we are entrepreneurial, we have faced tougher situations in life. And to our credit, we have qualified one of the toughest accounting course in the world, where passing rates are as at any point in time, they used to be as low as 2%. Now they have increased. But many of us have qualified in that bracket where the passing rates are very, very low. So these numbers are just to give us an indication that there is potential, there is opportunity, and given our grit and our competitive spirit and our experience and in-depth knowledge, we can definitely make it in wherever we intend to go. Obviously, it is all subject to visa requirements and you qualifying under those requirements. But if you are able to qualify those, and especially our young chartered accountants, especially below 30, have a very, very great potential in these countries, because all these countries look for talent, and not just talent, they mean quality talent. And when we talk about quality talent, ICI is at one of the top, if competitors or contenders for that competitive talent, because our course makes us go so deep and grill us so much that it is really makes us a very detail-oriented person and in-depth knowledgeable person. And thanks to our institute and the committees and the examination committees and the bodies who help us get that caliber. Obviously, as students, we crib a lot, and we don't like that system where the passing rate is so low. And I personally also did not, in my inter exam, I cleared all papers except for income tax, where I got 39, and in rechecking also it did not increase. So I was very, very upset at that point. But then I really don't realize when we come into competitive market, and especially outside of India, where you're competing with so many other accounting body professionals, you understand that why they have that system and what benefit it gives you. And many of us, even after qualifying maybe 5-10 years, we still remember those sections and audit standards. And I personally did not study audit in my exams as much as other students did, because my articleship was so aggressive that I remembered audit by heart without even studying. So a lot of us have had the same experience. So let's come back to competitive landscape to understand whom are we competing against in the international market, and what is it that we need against them to succeed. And let me talk starting from the Middle East, my experience in Middle East. So we're competing with members who are ACCA, who are USCPA, who are ICAEW, and obviously who are CFA and other qualifications. Now,
विवेक जी,
हाँ जी,
विवेक, आपकी स्लाइड मूवमेंट नहीं हो रहा है, वो फर्स्ट स्लाइड ही है स्क्रीन पे।
oh really?
हाँ सर,
हाँ,
अब
या
हो
या
गया।
अब हो गया?
हाँ सर,
हाँ,
हो
अब
गया।
आया आपका कम्पिटिटिव लैंडस्केप। हाँ, आप सेकंड, अब नेक्स्ट वाली
So
आई।
let me go back to the earlier slide. वो तो important slide थे, numbers ही अगर
या
नहीं
या
दिखे तो।
जी 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 जी, हाँ, वो
Yeah,
किसी
yeah.
ने चैट बॉक्स में लिख
अब तो
के
I will not go in presentation mode, फिर मैं इसी में रहूंगा।
अच्छा अच्छा, ठीक, ओके।
So yeah, so I was talking about top 10 countries with highest CA salary. So I'm just going back to that slide for you to get an idea. What are the salaries which are in the different countries, and I already spoke about them briefly. Now going to the next slide. Any questions so far in the chat, Harsh? Let me just double check.
No, sir, there's no question in the
Okay,
chat.
no questions. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. So I was talking about competitive landscape to understand, whom are we competing against in the international markets, and what is it that we need to succeed against them, and what is our key strengths. And I'm talking this purely from an experience standpoint. And so in the Middle Eastern markets, especially, we are competing against ACCA, USCPAs, and ICAW, and obviously CFAs for sure. Now, in terms of scope of work and opportunities in Middle East and the salary levels. So Middle East obviously is a tax haven. Till 2019 in Middle East, any country you take, there used to be no taxation, but now there is VAT implemented. Some countries have 5%, some countries have 10%. Like we have our GST on various commodities we buy in India. But it's not that high as compared to India. Obviously, the cost of living has gone up across the globe, and so is in Middle East. So depending on where you get placed, which company hires you, etc., your savings potential can vary. Having said that, what are the pros and cons of being in Middle East, and what is the way to settling in Middle East? So, as everybody or most of you might be aware, when we go to Middle East, we go there with a job offer in hand. So the company gives us that job offer, and they invite us, and they pay for our travel and our visa, and obviously they give us a salary which is tax free. So that is a very lucrative market for us to make some savings to probably buy a house or whatever in India or wherever. Now, what are the pros? Obviously, pros everybody knows is a tax haven, but what are the cons? Let's understand that. So, a couple of things to be mindful of. Obviously, when we go to Middle East, what happens is that we are on the work visa given by the employer. So, when there is restructuring, and unfortunately, if the employee is asked to leave the company, they generally have only 30 days on that visa to stay in the country, and they have to leave unless they find a new employer who can sponsor the visa, or they open their own company and sponsor themselves for a work visa, which is obviously an expensive game. And for a normal salaried employee, I don't know how much sense it makes. Depends on how much savings the employee has showed up, and how much is he or she able to spend to live in that country. So that's a sense of being temporary in that country. And always you look your colleagues or friends from Middle East, they keep looking at India. They still consider India as their base, and they invest in India in real estate, in stocks, etc. When it comes to North America, what's the difference? So let's understand the competitive landscape. Obviously, we have US CPA. If I talk about Canada from experience, we have the Canadian CPA, the CFA. And in these markets, we have very specialized courses. Obviously, India has also come a long way in that sense. We have courses like those people who are in banks doing credit. Then we have a certification called Certified Credit Professional. those people who are in the business valuation sector. We have chartered business valuators. Then who are in the insolvency profession. A lot of members from India who are doing insolvency have come here, and they have to do this qualification called Certified Insolvency and Restructuring Professional, and then they're able to do insolvency proceedings here. When you have to do life insurance business, there's something called life license qualification program, etc. So there are, because this is a highly regulated market, there are a lot of certifications which you're able to do, and when you come to these markets, you take some time to settle in based on what opportunity you get and based on what field you are interested in. And then sometimes companies which hire you, they ask you to do these courses, etc. Now, very important thing to understand when you come to the North American market is 95% or 98% of the times you come here as an immigrant, as you get your PR or work visa, and you come here. And out of those cases, you are coming here without a job in your hand, unlike Middle East. And the employer does not pay for your travel or your insurance or whatever. So everything here has to be borne by yourself. So it's a little bit challenging. I would not say impossible, but a little bit challenging in the initial years to settle down, because you have to have that mindset to kind of come here, be patient. It takes a while, because highly immigrant market, Canada and also US, the difference is that most of the times you see people being transferred from their companies. So people working for Infosys or HCL or Wipro or other corporations, they are transferred to the US office because they were dealing with US clients, or because they have to spend some time in the US markets. So they still have a job in hand. But countries like Canada or Australia or New Zealand, you 99% of the times go without a job, unless you're with a corporation like Wipro, Infosys, who are willing to relocate you to Canada or Australia or New Zealand. Then that's a very good situation for you. They send you on work visa, or even for that matter, Big Four, Deloitte, KPMG, or PwC, they send their people on work, they sponsor their work visa, and they give them a job over here. So then it's very easy for them to settle down. So we have seen both kind of members. Our chapter also has around 500 members in Toronto, and we have a mix of members. But as I said, majority are those who came here with 2 suitcases, and then they made their own career over here. But as I said earlier in my previous conversation, that given our competitive spirit and the kind of toughness which we have seen in our qualification and in our training as an article, gives us a very big competitive edge. But still we hear some stories of people being not successful. So I mean, I have at a personal level delved into some of the cases and understood the reasons, and I could not generalize the reasons, but I have some common factors or common reasons for due to which people returned to their home country or to any other country where they came from, or where they had an experience earlier on. So let me talk about that. But before I go there, I did not mention anything on the salaries. So as you saw on the earlier slide on the salaries table, and the potential to make an earnings as an employee. And these are not numbers to say that this is a cap, but this is the average salary. People are on the lower scale, people are on the much higher scale. In fact, in Canada, I have seen Indian chartered accountants drawing salaries of $1 million plus, where they're acting as head of departments or head or CFOs or chief operational officers or chief compliance officers, etc. So these are just indicative numbers to tell you that you can come here and sustain yourself at the initial stages, and then sky is the limit, as we all know, and it's true for everybody and in every market. Now, I talked about what is the competition. Let's talk about how to beat the competition and what is that we can do to have a smooth transition and get more opportunities. And while I was talking about opportunities, one of the important areas I did not talk about, and I will talk about now before I talk about the points on this slide, is we have the cost advantage. So people, a lot of firms in India, they get the work from North America outsourced into their firms, and then they do the work and deliver it to the client here. Most of the times they have a face here. If not, then one of the partners from the firm travels here to get business, and he or she is the face of the firm in this market. Similar to what Infosys did in the initial years to start off with. And this is a very
विवेक जी,
big. हाँ जी.
देयर इज ए क्वेश्चन कि जो सैलरीज आप बता रहे हैं वो इंडियन चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स को
Yes, yes.
या वहां के लोकल चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स के लिए?
Okay, okay, very good question. Thank you for that question. So इसमें ये the answer to this question is that now globally ICAI has got much more recognition. So when I hear from our members who came in Canada 20 years ago, it was extremely difficult to find a job because we are Indian CA, not a local CA. But now the scenario has changed drastically with the image of India being totally changed after our Honorable Prime Minister took seat. You go to any country, you say that I am an Indian, and the treatment you get compared to the treatment used to get earlier is entirely different. And I'm talking you from my personal experience. For example, I went to in 2017 as a chapter. We went to Russia for a study tour, and when we went to Russian embassy and I told them I'm Indian, then they said they were very happy. They gave because Prime Minister had visited Russia couple of months before we went, and there was a 50% discount on visa fees, and within 3 days they gave us the visa. When I went to Kenya to address our ICI conference over there, and the people in the taxi, the cab driver is talking about India. So what I'm trying to tell you, even the professional landscape, as I mentioned earlier, our members are at extremely senior positions, and they recognize the talent we bring in. So I would very conveniently and from experience say that these salaries are also applicable to Indian CAs. And when I will talk about the bridging qualification, but yeah, Indian CAs are equally recognized and people recognize the value we bring to the table. So that is no more a constraint, I would say, with globalization and India becoming such a prominent player in all sectors. That's a very big advantage in the international markets for us now. So coming back, I hope that answers your question. If that does not, please post a question again, and I will be happy to clarify. Now I was talking about how to beat the competition. So ICI has taken the initiative over the past few years to sign MOUs with different institutes of the world. We have an MOU with CPA Canada, with Australia. I think we have with New Zealand. I think we have with 7 or 8 countries. And also our institute has helped to set up professional bodies in countries, I think like Bhutan, some African regions. I remember in my conversation with our Honorable past President, Shri Chopra, he was supporting some of these countries to build up those accounting bodies. So we are a great structure of support and to the global accounting profession, and that is a testament to that is our World Congress of Accountants being held in India this time in November, and our lot of international chapters are sending representatives, including Canada, to that event, and we are trying to get other professional bodies from these countries also to attend the event and see what value we, as Indian Chartered Accountants, we bring to the table and to the profession as a whole. So I was saying that we should take advantage of those MOUs, and wherever country we are planning to move, even if you're going to Middle East, there are options to study for these exams and give these exams sitting overseas and qualify as Australian CPA or Canadian CPA or US CPA for that matter. And we should take advantage of that, because once you go into global markets, even if you're in Middle East or in UK, now UK has opened up drastically after Brexit. They're giving visas, work visas to our Indian CAs, because I don't know how many of you are aware, but earlier why UK was so close to India, because they used to easily get professionals from other European countries because it was considered as one. Now with Brexit, they have to do the same visa process they might have to do for a Spanish or a French person as they have to do for Indian. So they, unfortunately, a lot of times we are categorized as cheap labor, But the fact of the matter is that that is changing. The mindset is changing, and they understand that we bring a lot of credible value and talent to the table, and that's why a lot of Indian CAs I know from Middle East and from India are moving to the UK, and they're getting good positions and good salaries in UK, in Big Four especially, and other corporations to work for. So I was saying this, we should take advantage of that. We should explore those MOUs and then enroll in those courses and try to do them while we are in India if we are planning to move. So when we land into those respective countries, wherever we are planning to go, or even for that matter, we land in the Middle East, and a global qualification gives us a lot of advantage because of the mindset of the people over there. They feel that still the US CPA might be better than the Indian CA, although they realize that at the bottom of their heart. But then it'll take time for that mindset, and especially in Middle East, to change. Experience. So now with globalization, we have a lot of global corporates present in India. So if you're working for a company like, say, Shell, or you're working in the US tax department of Deloitte or PwC or whatever that is, or you are working in IBM and taking care of North American clients and doing work focused in North America, or European region, then that gives you a very big advantage when you come to these markets. Your resume will tell the employer, yeah, this person has worked in Canada or US markets or European markets, and that gives you a very big competitive edge. As I earlier mentioned, I will repeat, because I'm really proud of the fact that ICI gives us a very big competitive edge to make us a more detailed professional, and the ability to go in depth in each subject and gain expertise over it. So from my personal experience, I can tell you that the kind of professional expertise which we bring to the table, and the diligence and the honesty and integrity with which our people work in these countries, are applauded, and we are credited for that. But then what we lack is, biggest thing is the communication. And what these countries from in the education system focus is on communication. And our institute recognized this a few years ago. We introduced the GMCS, and then we introduced the residential course, where before we get the membership, we go through those. I have a question
Sorry to
from
interrupt you. Yeah, there's a
yeah, I
question
have a
for you.
question. I'm reading that. Can we choose study visa for 1 year? Yes, you can, if not qualified. Is that a good option? Now, Azra, thanks for that question. Now, whether good option or bad option is something which depends on everybody's personal situation. So if any member, I'll talk about that immigration for Canada. I'll just pause over here for your question and come back to you, because that is one of my points, and I'll take it up there. So just give me a few moments over here. Thank you for your understanding. I think I have another question. Oh, sure. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for your understanding. So we lack is communication and the soft skills. And so when I came to Canada, despite working with so many international clients and so many different corporations, I was, and not only me, all the people are told, you don't have Canadian experience. Now the question which comes to our mind is, what is this Canadian experience? What is so unique about that? And to be honest, there is nothing unique about it. There's just a hype created. But the important thing to understand is how to interact with people, how to work with people, and there's a drastic cultural difference when you work in this market as compared to India. So let me give you a very small example, and this was from my personal experience, and people will be surprised, and I was surprised on day one when I joined my first job here. And my VP welcomed me on the first day, and the words he said is, "Thank you for joining us." And as I was a new immigrant, I did not have any job, and obviously expensive country, so we need that job, right? So whatever we get, we take it, and then we try to build our success on that. And I was surprised, because I never heard these words in India or Middle East. Thank you for joining us. And I mean, that was a shock for me. And then, like when we work in India, if our boss says, today there's a meeting at 3 p.m., then the given assumption is that we have to join that meeting, whether we have a doctor appointment, whether we have to go anywhere urgently, is something which is not considered for in that cultural mindset. When we say there's a 3 p.m. meeting with the client, means there's a 3 p.m. meeting with the client, end of story. But here the question which your boss will ask you most of the times is, are you available at 3 p.m.? So that's a huge cultural shift, and that is something which we need to understand. So to kind of what is that Canadian experience we're talking about? So this is a huge cultural shift, and that's why the soft skills and the communication abilities and the way you communicate is extremely important. And for every single thing, every third thing you do in your organization or you work with your colleagues, thank you is a very common practice which we don't see so much in India. If your boss asks us to send me that report, you send that report to your boss. Oh, that's what you're being paid for. But here, when you do that same thing, you are being thanked, you're being recognized in various ways. So that's a very important cultural shift to understand. That doesn't happen in my experience in India or the Middle East anywhere. Or maybe the big corporations might have trying to change the culture, but uh, when we are brought up, we are made to understand that when you work for someone, then you work honestly, integrity, and diligently, and that's what we do here as well. But when you are awarded or rewarded or recognized for the same thing, then it's a different experience and feeling. Another few steps to beat the competition is software training. So like we use Tally in India, we have QuickBooks in North America. Obviously Middle East also uses a lot of times Tally or Zoho. There's another software. So if you get trained on those softwares, they are online courses, and their certification courses, not very expensive. So if you're planning to move to whichever market you're trying to go to, try to understand what softwares are being used based on your field of expertise. So if you're into practice, then it's a good market to practice also. Obviously, initial days are tough, whether you start practice in India or you start practice in Australia or Canada. But a lot of our members without the CPA qualification are very successful in practice, and they are doing it. Obviously, they cannot sign an audit report, but other than that, they are doing everything: taxation work, advisory work, management consulting, project finance, accounting work. So it's not a mandate to do in Canadian CPA or US CPA to do all these things. But yeah, it's always an advantage. The client gets more confidence in you. So always, or even if you want to be an employee and in the accounting field, then you learn these softwares. There are other softwares used for project finance, for developing those reports. So you can get an exposure to that. Reach out to those chapters. We have chapters in all these countries. Our members, our committees are very, very helpful. If you have difficulties, reach out through your regional people or your local branches. Or LinkedIn is a very good source. I get so many requests every day. I get requests, and our members keep on coming. And at a chapter level, at a personal level, we try to help them, get connected to the right people, right recruiting agencies, etc. So there's a lot of opportunities. Those people who came 15, 20 years, and those people who are coming now, there's a lot of difference and lot of resources available for people to get connected, to get exposure to what is happening in those markets, and prepare yourself while you're in India, because while sitting in India, you're sitting on a low cost economy, and you don't spend that time when you come to a high cost economy like these countries. I already touched upon difference in resettlement in Middle East and North America. Primarily, one is with a job and the flight ticket cost, but most of the times in other countries, especially North America, it's without a job, without the flight ticket cost. And I also talked about briefly about UK market. So going back to the question which Azza asked is about, is it a good option or bad option? But before that, if you are able to qualify, so Canada has a couple of immigration programs, and I get a lot of these requests, and to cater to these requests, what I did is made my life easier. And I just reached out to one of the consultant with whom one of our former, as in our member, did an immigration and came here. And I just try to connect them directly to that consultant, and then the consultant takes care of that. But if you qualify under the federal skilled worker program, or if you qualify under the provincial program, so like in India, we have states, here we have provinces. This is a different name. And every province or every state has their own immigration program. And you can apply on those programs and get accepted. And it's a low cost as compared to a student visa. Obviously, student visa is also one of the options where people come and study, and then they get a work visa, then they find then they try to find job, and then after that job, they do work for 2 years, they get their permanent residency, they stay in the country for 3 years, then they get their passport. So it's a long process, an expensive process, to answer your question, Azra, as compared to what you would do on a PR route. But yeah, it's not a bad option. It all depends on your personal choice and your cost considerations and what kind of course you're choosing, because there are a lot of colleges or institutes which are just in the business to get students, that people in as students, and get the visas for them, and they're not that credible institutes. But if you get into a MBA program, say from Rotman Business School, which is the University of Toronto School, it's a very premier program, but obviously a very high cost one. So it depends, but it's a good option. A lot of our members have done that. I personally know a lot of people who use that route. So I hope that answers your question. Happy to take up any follow-up questions on that or any other related to that subject. Now, what is the resettlement secret? As I mentioned, touched upon this topic early on, and the resettlement secrets are one of the most important thing is the mindset. And people might think, why am I saying this mindset thing? Because we will come here, people will say, take up low salaried jobs, take up, become a taxi driver or become a whatever. And you have to be patient, you have to understand the market, and you have to, most importantly, network, because the reference is worth more than 100 applications you do online. So you apply online, but if you have a reference inside the organization you're targeting, your role you're targeting, then it's very, very useful. Secondly, okay, I think I have a question here.
So there's a question for you. They are asking for the presentation on mail.
Okay, sure. In the last slide, you will have that, not a problem. Okay, so I was talking about mindset. Sorry, I missed that trail. And I was talking about what is the important thing in the mindset, and you have to be patient and you have to network. Yeah, I was talking about networking, and networking is very, very important, because that's one of the major secret where how people have got into opportunities and jobs, or even for that matter, practice. You need more clients, you need to meet people, you need to get more business, right? So I mean, what a lot of times what our members do is suppose they land on a Monday night, and Tuesday morning they start searching for jobs, and they start telling people, I'm okay for any job. Yeah, I understand you're okay for any job because you need the money to survive. But here the market is totally different. They ask you what you want to do. And so when you are facing an interview, you don't tell them, I'm ready to do accounting, I'm ready to do auditing, I'm ready to do credit, I'm ready to do project finance. No, if you're applying for a role of accounting manager, then you tell them, I want to do accounting, I love accounting. Although that may not be your first choice, but you don't tell them this, because if you tell them this, then they understand that you are not sure about what you want to do, and that's a negative. And there are other secrets which when you apply jobs. So there is in the Canadian market and also in the US market, there is a software which companies use to filter out resumes. So any job application get 100 resumes, 200 resumes. First step, the system filters out. So there are softwares available to match the job requirement with your resume and map them to match for keywords. And if there is a certain match, then your resume is filtered through the system before the HR manager looks at it. Other key difference in this market as compared to India and Middle East is, for example, in India, you want to get internship in, say, XYZ bank, and you will call Atulji and say, Atulji, this is my nephew or niece or my son or daughter, and he needs internship in, say, SBI, and you are auditor for that. Can you help? Atulji will call the general manager or whomsoever and say, can you take him for internship? Okay, 2 months internship done within 2 hours. Doesn't happen that, unfortunately, in Canada and US. You have to apply online, you have to talk to the hiring manager, you have to compete with other candidates who are not only from India, they're from China, from Africa, all across the world, from Russia, from Middle East, and they are highly qualified and they have great experiences. Volunteer work is a very, very important here. So in India, we do seva. Sometimes we go to our temples or churches or wherever, and we do contribute. We contribute to orphanages. We do social work. Here, that is, if you document that while you're doing that in India, that's very important here, because they see that leadership qualities in you. In India, we never document. When we go to do service in temples or wherever, we don't ask them for a certificate that this person had to do 20 hours or 40 hours. But here, that is a prerequisite. When you have to do grade 10, they don't give you a certificate before you show 40 hours of volunteer work. And so these are important differences in the culture and mindset. I think I have a question here.
So there's no question for you.
Oh, Atulji, okay, Atulji,
Yeah.
okay. So that's about it. And I think the route to Canadian CPA, very important. As I said, Canadian CPA. So the advantage for our institute, ICI qualified members, is that you apply to this Canadian CPA Institute, you get your credentials validated and your work experience validated. Then what you have to do is only appear for the common final examination. They call it the CFE. This is a 3-day exam, day 1, day 2, and day 3. Now, day 1 is marked separately, which is all the 3 days are totally case study based. Day 1 is marked separately. Day 2 and day 3 is marked separately as 1 unit. So if you pass day 1 and for whatever reason you don't pass day 2 or day 3, only one of the days, then both the days have to be reappeared. But day 1, if passed, then it's passed forever. Similarly, if you pass day 2 and day 3 together for in the exam, but for whatever reason you don't pass day 1, then day 2 and day 3 is done. Like we have group 1 and group 2. Similarly, we have day 1 and day 2 and day 3. So you can consider group 1 as day 1 and group 2 as day 2 and day 3. Day 2 and day 3 contains all the subjects like auditing, taxation, management, accounting, financial management, etc. And day 1 is more on strategy and governance, where they give you a company, say they have been 10 years into, for example, say brewery industry, and now they are launching a new brand of liquor in a newer market, and they are going there, and you are supposed to give your advice as an accountant, as an advisor. So they test you on all grounds, and passing rates are much higher than ICA. And a lot of members have qualified in the first attempt or second attempt. A very important point to note that the institute in Canada only gives you 3 attempts under this program to pass the CFE. If you don't pass that CFE, then you cannot become a Canadian CPA. So you have only 3 chances to take it. So I think that's all from my side. I'm happy to have any more questions from our audiences. And yeah, lastly, my email is over here. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and as Atulji mentioned, if you want to send any queries to CIRC, they will be forwarding to me, and I'm happy to answer those questions to my best of my ability. If you're interested in any other services, I can happy to connect you to reliable people from my personal network who will be happy to connect with you and support you in whatever way you are targeting, whether it be Middle East or North America. It seems like okay, Azra. Thank you. So yeah, that's all from my side, and over to you, Atulji.
I have a question. I have a question from Bikaner.
Yes,
How the Indian chartered accountants can get some professional assignment from the globe, especially Middle East or Canada or any other country, because few of our Indian chartered accountants are having some network with the global professionals, and they are doing the work from here itself.
Correct. As I said earlier, that's a very big area of practice. And as I said earlier, that generally people tie up with firms locally here. And because we have a very big cost advantage, we have to pay like minimum wages in Canada is $16 or $15 an hour. But that's not the case in India. I think $15 we can have a person for 2 days or 3 days. So we have a very big cost advantage, and people generally do tie-ups with local firms here. They reach out to them individually, and then through their own network or whatever, and then they get that work. Yeah, that's a very big area of practice. And I also get so many inquiries from firms to help them connect with people. So we try and connect them as much, but all the Indian chartered accountants who are practicing here, so in some or the other way, they have connections with some firms, so I mean, it's a situation like really need to have that deep network to get that work. But yeah, it is possible. I have heard in my experience through this route only.
थैंक यू विवेक जी एंड
Thank you.
मैं आप लोगों को बता दूं कि विवेक जी हमारे यहाँ से टाइम डिफरेंस के हिसाब से वहाँ पर मॉर्निंग है एंड ही हैज टू गो टू हिज ऑफिस बट एनी हाउ ही accepted our request just to share his experience and knowledge. और ऐसा मत समझिएगा कि विवेक जी कोई बहुत ही विवेक जी हमारे और आपके जैसे ही सीए हैं और कभी वो अपनी स्टोरी कभी दूसरे प्रोग्राम में शेयर करेंगे तो हमारे और आपकी तरह ही वो थे इंडिया में और कोई अपॉर्चुनिटी उनको मिली और बहुत हाइक के साथ मिली एंड बट ही वाज पॉजिटिव इनफ टू ग्रैब those opportunities. So we should be ready to if we have any option for any opportunity, then we should not analyze so much and we should just grab those opportunity because that is the result of that Vivek ji is doing well and he is already was heading the Bahrain and now he is the chapter head of the Toronto. So he is always there for our Indian chartered accountants to support to the extent possible and हम लोग फिर से कभी उनसे बात कर सकते हैं और मैंने अपना मोबाइल नंबर भी दे दिया है कोई भी आपको इंक्वायरी चाहिए कुछ भी विवेक जी का मेलिंग एड्रेस चाहिए देन आई कैन शेयर विद ऑल ऑफ यू सो थैंक यू विवेक भाई I can understand that you have to left us because you have to move to your responsibilities. So thank you so much and over to Harsh for further proceedings.
Thank you so much, sir. I still believe that all the people, professionals who want to settle outside, they are enlightened by your session. And I too am glad to know so much about this your session and the ways that we Indians also, like we CAs also can go outside and get those. And especially the thing main thing which you told me, which you told us that you get tax-free salaries over there, so which is a good thing for us because many of us are tending towards this thing only, how to save our taxes and how to save our clients' taxes.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for your session.
Thank you, Ji, and thank you once again, Atul Ji and entire CRC team for having me and giving me this opportunity. As Atul Ji rightly mentioned, very wise point Atul Ji said because of his experience and wisdom that people are hesitant to take opportunities because they are afraid of change. But you never know that change can change your life. And most of the times, if you're positive, it will definitely change your life for positive. Having said that, struggles are always there initially. Everybody of us has faced struggles to qualify, to get first job, to get articleship, to get promotion, to get increment, to marry, to buy a house or rent a house, to buy a car, bike, scooter, whatever. So as Atulji rightly mentioned and very well said, Atulji. So thank you so much. And Sushilji, I will apologize because I really wanted to attend your session, but unfortunately, as Atulji mentioned, I have to go to my office. But I will see the recording. Thank you, Sushilji, and thank you, Atulji, and thank you entire team here. Bye-bye.
भैया अपनी भैया अपना एक्सक्यूज मी भैया बंद कर दिया अपना आपका वॉइस आ रहा है ठीक थैंक यू
म्यूट कर दीजिए अपने आप को
थैंक यू अतुल जी बाय बाय
थैंक यू सर now our second session is on is a motivational session on CA the elite professional by Shri Sushil Kumar Mishra, and before inviting him I would like to introduce him to our members over here. Shri Sushil Kumar Mishra is a member of Lucknow Management Association. He was a member of Board of Governors of JK Group's Education Initiative. He is a professional having extensive experience of 31 years and still growing for motivational people. He has done MBA along with many certificate courses in entrepreneurship, business management, health and IT, etc. He's an efficient motivational speaker he was impaneled with a motivational counselor and trainer at CSTM Kanpur University, and also he is associated with ICI as guest lecturer for soft skills. Now, sir, up to you. I would like to enlighten you. I would like to welcome you and enlighten our assemblies over here with your motivational speeches.
Thank you, Harsh. Thank you so much. And thank you, Atul sir, once again. जस्ट बैठे बैठे ऐसे यूं ही बात हुई और एक बात चली और बात करी और आज बात करने आ गए। सो इट्स ऑल गोज ऑन। प्रोबेबली बहुत सारे लोग जो अटेंडीज हैं दे माइट बी वन और अदर टाइम 2014-15 से हूँ मैं एक्चुअली सीएस के साथ रह के फाइनेंशियल ईयर बोलने लग गए हम भी। तो 2014-15 से मैं जुड़ा हुआ हूँ आईसीएआई के साथ एंड माइट भी बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स मेरे बैठे हूँ उसके साथ में। मैं कुछ चीज़ें मेंशन करना चाहूँगा, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ें हैं। वी हैव एक्सट्रीमली लिमिटेड टाइम। सबसे पहली चीज़ तो जैसे अभी आप लोग सुन रहे थे इनको, मैं सीए विवेक को एंड थैंक यू सो मच, वो चले गए हैं कि उन्होंने कुछ चीज़ें बताई हैं बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट, वो थोड़ी समझने वाली है। आईसीएआई ही उन्होंने भी जो मेंशन किया कि जीएमसीएस और ओरिएंटेशन ये सब चीज़ें कर रहा है, दीज ऑल थिंग्स। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई थिंक इंग्लिश विल बी ओके और इंग्लिश ही पूरा चाहिए, ऐसा कुछ है सर अतुल सर?
नहीं मिक्स हिंदी इंग्लिश मिक्स
जिसमें आप कंफर्टेबल हो
और इंग्लिश ही चाहिए शायद, कुछ ऐसा ही हो, कोई अंग्रेजी ही समझ में आती हो ऐसा।
नहीं सर, दोनों चलेगा जिसमें आप कंफर्टेबल हो।
आई एम कंफर्टेबल विद दोस। थोड़ी सी अंग्रेजी मैंने पढ़ ली, सिर्फ इंग्लिश ऑनर्स किया मैंने पुणे यूनिवर्सिटी से, तो अंग्रेजी थोड़ी बहुत आती है, लेकिन अगर इंग्लिश में बोले क्या होता है कि रीच करना चाहिए लोगों के पास।
यस
ठीक है, दिमाग दिल में पहुंचना चाहिए
जी।
द थिंग इज कि एज ही टोल्ड इंटरैक्टिव, एक इंटरैक्टिव वर्ड उन्होंने यूज किया था स्टार्ट करने से पहले, बट ये इंटरैक्टिवनेस कैसे आएगा ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है, ये थोड़ा सोचने की जरूरत है। ठीक है, मैं एक पॉइंट वहां बोल रहा था, ये ओरिएंटेशन जीएमसीएस ये सब किस लिए शुरू किया है, एज ही हिमसेल्फ मेंशन्ड व्हाट ऑल रिक्वायर्स। आप लोग किताब बहुत अच्छा पढ़ते हैं, आपको बुकिश नॉलेज जबरदस्त है, आप सीए की जब गजब पढ़ाई करते हैं, but the thing is what is the requirement for those all soft skills, what is the requirement of those all a particular word he used, that mindset. What is that mindset? Mindset doesn't comes out from those or CA, those are books of P&L, books of balance sheet, books of these all things. That doesn't come from there. That comes within. That is the main thing you have to point out you for yourself in that rather. So सैलरीज का बात किया, वो जो भी सैलरीज का एक स्लाइड दिखाया था, मैं ज्यादा, मुझे अभी एक और एफडीपी में आया था, अभी आप सीआईएलसी के में शामिल हुआ था। सो उसमें मुझे पूछा गया कि आप क्लास में कैसे पढ़ाते हैं, तो मैंने बोला जैसे सब लोग पढ़ाते हैं। बोले नहीं वैसे तो नहीं पढ़ाते, तो रादर मैं प्रैक्टिकल बातों पे बातें करूंगा। आप मेरे पास भी है स्लाइड्स में शेयर कर सकता हूँ, शेयर करूंगा सब कुछ, बट वी शुड टॉक practical what all really goes on and why the requirement of this GMCS orientation is there. Can anybody tell me who is the person behind starting this GMCS orientation? Anybody from the panel or anybody attendees, anyone, they can give me the answer from where it has been started, kahan se start hua, kisne start kiya, who is the person behind to get it started in ICAI. That I want to know, if anybody knows that, right? Number one. So here comes, as give me the answer and we'll continue accordingly, right? Soft skills and mindset, I have to combine that, right? Why these soft skills required? मैं एक नॉर्मल सी बात करता हूँ, एक स्टैनफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी में, I'll show with the exhibit also, ठीक है? But the thing is कि अभी भी जो लोग यहाँ बैठे होंगे, बहुत सारे लोग अपनी बहुत सारी चिंताओं को साथ में लेके बैठे होंगे। मतलब मैं स्क्रीन शेयर कर सकता हूँ। आई थिंक आई हैव द परमिशन, हर्ष?
आपके पास क्या, आप कर सकते हैं स्क्रीन शेयर? सर आप कर सकते हैं स्क्रीन शेयर, आवाज आ रही है आपको?
Is it visible?
Sir, हाँ, it is visible now.
Okay. Well, the chartered accountants, yes, it is the elite professional. Because मैं अभी भी यही बोलता हूँ, all intellectuals are there. All people attending this are intellectuals. I am only the normal person here, right? So this is the difference. Yes, it is the difference. People look at you with a different aspect, different frame of mind, different viewpoint altogether. This is promise from normal, from everybody in that sense in the society, right? सो ये नॉर्मल चीजें हैं जो ऑलरेडी सब जगह पड़ी हुई है, मुझे ये सब ज्यादा बताने की जरूरत नहीं है. बट आर यू देयर, और वी से कैन से हियर, और टायर्ड, दिन भर का काम है, शाम हो गई, वी ऑल मस्ट हैव वर्कड. छोटा सा वीडियो देख लें, 2 मिनट, हम आगे की बात करते हैं फिर. राइट, अगर वॉइस नहीं आ रहा हो तो बता दीजिए.
First quality of the human mind, if you don't have a strong intellect, is that the mind rambles. You understand? You are sitting here in the middle of your work day. All of you have come here obviously because you want to learn something. And you come here from your busy schedule to learn something. Your own mind won't let you do that. So you're sitting here looking at me and the mind will go, oh, at 3 o'clock, where do I have to go? What is the meeting? Anxiety about the future. Or you are worried about what happened in the past. Last time when we had this meeting, I didn't make a good impression. This time, you understand? So all the time, your mind is either rambling in worries of the past or anxieties for the future. This destroys your peace and productivity. See, I speak to CEOs often on these corporate seminars, and I ask them, because you look up to these people as successful. And I say, you guys are in the office 9 hours a day. How long are you actually working? What do you think they say? Or you tell me what you think you do. Even if your boss is here, don't worry. Because he's in the same position. So don't worry. See, what I mean is, once you understand your mind is always rambling in the past and the future, what do you think? Suppose you're in the office 9 hours, how much are you actually in the present focusing on that work of that time? How much do you think? Less than an hour. You don't have to be that humble. How can you work there? Your boss is not here, no? I mean, focusing on at that moment what you're supposed to be doing, whatever you've been wanting to do. See, like over here, you've come here wanting to listen to this. Right now, your work is to listen to what I'm saying. Your own mind won't let you. It'll go. I told you, next meeting or previous meeting or what happened, what will happen. So, what do you think in the whole day? What do you think it is? He says, okay. 3 hours, okay. Anybody here? 6 hours. 6 hours travel. You must be a big shot. See, most people, the general consensus anywhere all over the world is between 30 and 40%. Do you know what that means? You have no idea of the implication of that. What should take you 3 hours or 4 hours to do actually takes you 10 hours. And that's why you keep saying the whole world, this is the problem. I don't have time. I don't have time. It's not you don't have time. You don't have an intellect to keep your mind in the present. If you could do that, you would have all the time in the world. And not only does this rambling tendency of your mind destroy your productivity, this is what causes you to be tired all the time and fatigued. That's why at the end of the day, you need a drink. At the end of the week, you need a weekend. Today's Friday, right? Everybody have a great weekend, have a great... Why doesn't anybody say on Monday, have a great week? Put them in asylum over here. I really want to start that. Monday morning, have a great week. That's crazy. At the end of the year, you need a vacation. That's all you look forward to. So you are looking forward to getting away from what you do for enjoyment. What a sad life. Trying to get away from things to enjoy. Why? Because you're tired. Why are you tired? It's not because of your work. I'll prove it to you. Anybody here have a young kid, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old? Anyone? No? All thinking, not to have children. Good intellect. So, see, what I mean is, a guy, father comes home from work, he's got a young kid, and the kid is jumping all over him. Dad, how are you? How is it? And he's like, okay, relax. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. And what did you do all day that you're so tired? Huh? You drove to work in your air-conditioned car. You went to your air-conditioned office. You had a few meetings, had a nice lunch, sipped a few cups of coffee, and then drove home in your air-conditioned car. And then you come home. I'm so tired, man. Oh, what a day. And your son, who's been jumping, kicking, dancing, running around all day, he's so full of energy, right? Why is that? Physically, you have far more strength than him. You can pick him up and toss him around. There's no comparison. And yet you are tired when he's so energetic, because children have no worries of the past, no anxiety for the future. That's why they have boundless energy. Only adults feel tired. It's not your work. It's your inability to keep your mind in the present. That's what fatigues you. Worries and anxiety. It destroys your peace. It destroys your productivity. It destroys your energy.
So I was talking about the thing that is called living in the present, or you are tired, as you were. Mindset. It all comes from mindset, as he was talking about. Probably यहाँ पे भी बहुत सारे लोगों में बहुत अटेंडीज हो गए, सब कुछ है, ये वीडियो चलने लग गया, ठीक है, अपना जो काम कर रहे हैं हम लोग कर रहे हैं, वीडियोस हम लोग स्टेज पे रहते हैं, हमको बिना ऑडियंस के ना बोलना अच्छा लगता नहीं है, सामने अगर कैमरास बंद है, सब कुछ है, वर्चुअल में भी तब वो नहीं ठीक लगता है, बट यस समबडी इज देयर विद मी, सर यस दे आर देयर. द थिंग इज कि आर वी रियली लिविंग इन द प्रेजेंट? आर वी रियली टैकलिंग वेल टू आवर माइंडसेट थिंग? ये क्वेश्चन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, बहुत जरूरी है. एंड सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम क्या है? वो ये है वरी, चिंता, बहुत प्रॉब्लम. एज ही जस्ट टोल्ड, इट्स ऑल अबाउट एटीट्यूड. ये स्लाइड देख के मेरे ख्याल से अपने आप ही सबको समझ में आ रहा होगा कि इफ यू हैव एनी प्रॉब्लम, डू यू हैव अ प्रॉब्लम इन लाइफ? सबके साथ it's guaranteed everybody might have the personal problems, must have the personal problems brother. लेकिन क्या उसके लिए कुछ कर सकते हैं? अगर नहीं कर सकते तो कोई चिंता नहीं, और अगर कर सकते हैं तो कर लो, फिर कोई चिंता नहीं है. The only thing is mindset, right? Not to say anything, it's only mindset. The thing ये सामने दिखाई दे रहा है, मैं अभी आपको एक बहुत प्रूव कर दूंगा. अभी उन्होंने सॉफ्ट स्किल्स के लिए बोला, वो बहुत सारी चीजें मैंने बहुत ध्यान से सुना, बहुत सारी चीजें लिखी. हमारे बहुत सारे लोगों को सैलरीज वाला स्ट्रक्चर बहुत अच्छा लगा, उस पर सवाल हुआ. हमारे बहुत सारे लोगों को क्या वहां पे हमको जाके ये इंडियन रुपीज में है या डॉलर्स में है ये पता लगा, ये बहुत अच्छा लगा. द थिंग इज वी टेक द थिंग्स, ठीक है, जो हमको अपील करती है उतना ही हम सुनते हैं, उतना ही देखते हैं, उतना ही बात करते हैं. उन्होंने बात किया कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स पे, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. अभी हमारे यहाँ पे भी सॉफ्ट स्किल्स या GMCS ओरिएंटेशन शुरू हुआ है, उसको कितने लोग सीरियसली अटेंड करते हैं, ये सोचने वाली बात है. इट्स वेरी हम्बल सबमिशन, बिकॉज मैं आपको ये बता दे रहा हूं, अभी मैं प्रूव भी कर दूंगा. अभी मैं आपको एक शॉकिंग इंफॉर्मेशन देता हूं, मैं ये शेयरिंग स्टॉप कर देता हूं और एक शॉकिंग इंफॉर्मेशन देता हूं. डू यू ऑल नो कि एज आई जस्ट टोल्ड कि ये वाला किसने शुरू किया था? इसके पीछे कौन था ओरिएंटेशन GMCS शुरू करने के पीछे? मैं आंसर बता देता हूं. ही वाज नारायण मूर्ति. एनीबॉडी नोस हु इज नारायण मूर्ति? इसका तो आंसर मिल जाना चाहिए. कम ऑन, इंटरैक्टिव बहुत जरूरी है. आई डोंट थिंक इट्स
आ गया Infosys.
Yes, it's from panel, right? It's Infosys, right? Infosys के फाउंडर नारायण मूर्ति. Now I'm going to give you, स्टैनफोर्ड में एक रिसर्च हुआ, उसमें क्या निकल गया है वो भी बता रहा हूँ, और उसका मैं एग्जीक्यूटिव दिखाऊंगा आपको, वीडियो दिखाऊंगा. मिस्टर बाटली वाला स्टैनफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी में ही पढ़े हैं और रिसर्च में बहुत भाग लिया है उन्होंने. रादर ही इज रेनाउंड स्पीकर. नारायण मूर्ति ने दैट ईयर टॉप 10 पास्ड आउट सीएस को हायर किया. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट लाइन है, सुनिएगा. टॉप 10 पास्ड आउट सीएस. अब टॉप 10 पास्ड आउट सीएस मतलब दे मतलब no challenge with their information, no challenge with their intellectual, no challenge with their competency, कुछ भी नहीं हो सकता है, ये गारंटी है. Top 10 passed out CS. Would you believe? Out of 10, 6 has been fired by him within 6 months. 6 fired within 6 months. यही जो अभी सीए विवेक कपूर बता रहे थे. The soft skills, the communication skills, the sense of gratitude, the leadership qualities, the communication skills, the presentation skills, the confidence, the dealing with the clients and all. ये सब चीजें हम कहाँ सुनते हैं? बिल्कुल हम किताबों में चले जाएं. बहुत अच्छी बात है. मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, मैं इंफोसिस, HCL, एम्फैसिस, विप्रो, HCL, इन सबके इंटरव्यू पैनलिस्ट भी रहा हूँ और बाकी बहुत सारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. मैं आपको टेबल के उस साइड की बात बताता हूँ. हम लोग जब इंटरव्यू लेते हैं तो सामने जो कैंडिडेट आता है, राइट नाउ आई एम ग्रुप वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ अ ग्रुप. बिफोर दिस आई वाज डेप्यूटी CEO ऑफ अ ग्रुप इन राजस्थान टेक ग्रुप. So I am into directors and all, total 32 years of experience, and I served Indian Air Force for 20 years rather before that, right? So जब हम लोग इंटरव्यूज लेते हैं, जब आप अंदर एंटर करते हैं, ये मेरा रिसर्च है और अब स्टैनफोर्ड का भी रिसर्च मैं अभी आपको दिखाऊंगा. जब इंटरव्यू देने जाते हैं, जब एंटर करता है कैंडिडेट और सामने वाली चेयर पे आके बैठता है और पहले क्वेश्चन का जवाब देता है, मोर और लेस. द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन एवरीबॉडी नोज, टेल मी अबाउट योरसेल्फ और सो कॉल्ड, इंट्रोड्यूस योरसेल्फ. जब वो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन का आंसर देता है, तब तक हम 50% डिसाइड कर देते हैं कि हमको उसको लेना है कि नहीं लेना. बैठ के बातें करते हैं, वो मैं बात करूंगा. बाद में जब वो कैंडिडेट उठ के जाता है, बाहर निकलता है, तब हम 25% डिसाइड करते हैं. टोटल आई थिंक 75%, इफ ऑल एग्री, राइट. सो टोटल 75%. अभी बैठ के जो बात कर रहे हैं, व्हाट इज दैट? 25%. Means the soft skills, the confidence, everything comes with 75%, and that sitting the thing was 25%. मैं अभी आपको वीडियो दिखाऊंगा, उससे शॉक लग जाएगा आपको. और पूरा लाइफ हम लोग तैयारी किस चीज का करते हैं? This 25%. All those study and all. Just go back once to your school life, to your college life. अगर वहां पे ईयर एंड एग्जाम्स नहीं होते, हाफ ईयरली एग्जाम्स नहीं होते, तो मुझे आप लोगों से बताइए कितने लोग पढ़ाई करते हैं. इसमें भी अगर एग्जाम्स नहीं हो, कितने लोग पढ़ाई करेंगे? समझने वाली बात है. तो द सीरियस थिंग इज, वी डोंट स्टडी टू लर्न, वी स्टडी टू क्लियर द एग्जामिनेशंस. दिस इज द सीरियस थिंग, एक्सट्रीमली सीरियस थिंग. एंड मोर और लेस दिस 25% के लिए हम लोग मोर देन 93% टाइम, एफर्ट और मनी लगाते हैं. मैं अभी आपको वीडियो दिखाता हूँ. एंड रियली सीरियस थिंग, जस्ट यू हैव टू गो अबाउट इट. आप अपॉर्चुनिटीज का बात किया उन्होंने. डू वी हैव दैट सेंस टू ग्रैब दोज अपॉर्चुनिटीज? नो. आराम से, बिकॉज अपॉर्चुनिटी नॉक्स वेरी लाइटली, वी हैव टू कैच इट. बट जो आफत आती है, मुसीबत आती है, वो भड़ भड़ करके आती है. जब तक हम खोल नहीं देते, दरवाजा जाती नहीं. So come on, live in present, check your mindset, go for all those soft skills and all. क्योंकि वो अभी मैं आपको मैं वीडियो दिखा रहा हूँ, ये वीडियो मैंने मोबाइल से बनाया था, मैं फिर से शेयर कर रहा हूँ. बट उसमें क्या है कि दिस ऑल द रिजल्ट, बट ये बात करेंगे द सक्सेस परक्विजिट्स. ये नॉट ओनली इंटरव्यू, ये लाइव के लिए सक्सेस परक्विजिट्स है. मैं आपको बहुत क्लियर बताता हूँ. आपका वीडियो थोड़ा सा ठीक नहीं देगा, बट वॉइस क्वालिटी इज क्लियर. मोबाइल से रिकॉर्ड किया हुआ था. जस्ट लिसन इट वेल बाय हार्ट. एक बार इसको देख लीजिए. वो जो भी विवेक कपूर साहब ने बोला, बहुत सारी चीजें आपको इसमें ही समझ में आ जाएंगी. राइट?
Right? Everybody here wants to be successful. Okay, let's understand success. What is it? What is required to be successful? There are two things that are required basically. One is what we call domain expertise. Yeah, which means that if you are a doctor, you should know where the kidneys are. Or if you are an architect, you should know the difference between the floor and the ceiling. Right? Are you getting what I'm saying? Or if you are a chemical engineer, you should know that H2 stands for hydrogen.
He will be mentioning about ICAI also. Mr. Narayan Murthy, how Mr. Narayan Murthy is the man behind starting these all course of orientation and GNCS. He'll be mentioning that also. He'll be mentioning the success rate of world also, on which it depends upon. So please listen it carefully.
Things like that, domain expertise. Yes, knowing your subject. Okay, this is one thing. The second thing is what we call soft skills, ability to handle stress, interpersonal relationship, confidence, ability to take decisions, clarity of thought, ability to communicate. All these things. See, you might have fantastic domain expertise. You might be the best in your field, but if you cannot talk properly, is it any point? See, you can study for 4 years in IIT, get your BTech, but then you have to sit across the table and convince that guy on the other side in 5 minutes that you know what you studied for 4 years. Yes or no? Right? So what is required is these soft skills also. One side you need domain expertise, another side you need soft skills. Now there was a study that was done in Stanford where they asked extremely successful Stanford graduates, how much percentage do you attribute the success of your life to domain expertise and how much percentage do you attribute to soft skills? Now, what do you think was the answer? More than 10,000 people were interviewed. Yeah. What do you think was the answer? No, percentage bolo na. How many? How many? How many in domain expertise? How much percentage domain expertise? 20, 30. Do you want to know the result? This was what the successful people who were Stanford graduates said, that 87.5% of the success that I have in my life, I attribute to me being a nice person. Of course, you can be a very nice person and not know shit about your subject and still not succeed. So this is important. 12.5% is important, but it is 12.5%. Now, if you check out the time, effort, and money that you spend in developing these two, it is absolutely the opposite. Yeah, more than 90% of your time, effort, and money goes into domain expertise. Studies. Right? Very little of your time, effort, and money do you invest in developing soft skills. Yes? This is why India today has become a country of the educated unemployable. Yeah, you know, Narayan Murthy, head of Infosys, actually wrote a letter to the Chartered Accountancy Association of India this year. He hired the top 10 graduates of CA, top 10. Within 6 months, he had to fire 6 of those people. Zero over here. Cannot communicate, no clarity of thought, no ability to take decisions. He wrote a letter saying, what are you doing? What kind of people are you training? Yes. So the way you are right now, are you geared for success? The effort, time, and money that you are spending on your education, is it taking you towards success or is it taking you towards something else? This is the question you have to ask.
So I think not much to talk about. These all things clear हो गया है कि what is where domain expertise extremely required. अगर हमने पढ़ाई नहीं की चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट से हम सीए ही नहीं है, that is the qualifying criteria is there, but CAs भी बहुत सारे लोग बनते हैं, but some ones are extremely successful. Some are there in Canada, some are there in US, some are there in rather doing extremely wonderful in India also. But there is the difference. This slide tells something. What did you learn from today's performance? Daily analysis of yourself. How did you keep going when things got tough? What are some different strategies you could have used? ये daily हमको अपने आप से सवाल करने चाहिए. It's all extremely. What steps did you take to make today successful? The word comes. And what can you learn from your opponent today. So the soft skills, he is there. कनाडा में बैठे हुए हैं, सब कुछ है, मेरे ख्याल से एक्सट्रीम एक अच्छा सक्सेसफुल करियर उन्होंने ले लिया, सब कुछ है. Still he is talking about that. Still is asking, in fact urging to you all about that. Why so? This question we need to ask rather ourselves. क्या करना है, क्या चल रहा है, क्या हो रहा है, आप बिल्कुल उसमें. और रादर बहुत सिंपल सी बात है, मैं फिर से बोल रहा हूं, अपने स्कूल डेज में जाइए. व्हाट स्किल्स वी हैव. मैं अपनी क्लास में बोलता हूँ, बहुत सारे लोग अगर मेरे स्टूडेंट्स होंगे तो उनको समझ में भी आ रहा होगा. अभी मैंने एक बात बोली, क्योंकि आपके ईयर एंड एग्जाम खत्म कर दीजिए, कितने लोग पढ़ाई करेंगे. अब मैं एक और एग्जांपल आपको देता हूँ, प्रैक्टिकली आंखें खुल जाएंगी. मैं वो बातें नहीं करता जो गूगल पे नॉर्मली मिल जाती हैं. याद कीजिए वो 12th में जब आप लोग पास आउट हो रहे थे, मैं ये क्वेश्चन क्लास में पूछता हूँ, हर बार पूछता हूँ, और कुछ लोग होंगे मेरे स्टूडेंट तो उनको पता भी होगा कि जब हम 12th पास कर रहे थे, फेयरवेल वाला दिन होता है ना, साल में एक बार साड़ी वाड़ी पहन के आते हैं लड़कियां, दीज ऑल थिंग्स इन टाई एंड ऑल. जब हम फर्स्ट से लेकर 12th तक एक स्कूल में पढ़े मान लीजिए, एंड 12th के बाद आप स्कूल के बाहर खड़े हुई एंड आस्क देम, योर प्रिंसिपल, योर मैनेजर, डायरेक्टर और व्हाटएवर इट मे बी, जस्ट आस्क देम कि जस्ट गिव अस 12 साल हमने पढ़ाई किया आपके पास, 12,000 रुपए का जॉब दीजिए हमको. एट दैट मोमेंट, अभी एज ए सीए नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, एट दैट मोमेंट व्हेन यू क्लियर क्लास 12, कितना पॉसिबिलिटीज था, सोच के देखिए कि आपको वो जॉब मिलता, कितना पॉसिबिलिटी था. प्रोबेबली जीरो, बिकॉज हमको तो पता ही है कि हमने कैसे पढ़ाई किया, क्या पढ़ाई किया, कितना पढ़ाई किया, रादर पढ़ाई छोड़िए, कितना सीखा है. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द लर्निंग्स. हमको तो पता ही है, उनको हमसे ज्यादा पता है. हमारे टीचर्स को, विद ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ ऑल दोस गुरुज एंड टीचर्स, उनको हमसे ज्यादा पता है कि हमने ये 12 साल इनको क्या दिया है, या क्या पढ़ा, या क्या सीखा, या क्या सिखाया, या क्या सिखाने के लिए प्रेरित किया. व्हाट वी कॉल द एनकरेजमेंट टू गेट ऑल दोज लर्निंग्स. इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. वी हैव टू थिंक सीरियसली ऑन दोज all the things what all gone through. वापस आ जाइए एक बार, ये जो 15 डेज में फिर से बोल रहा हूँ, सॉफ्ट स्किल्स के सेशंस हो रहे हैं, ओरिएंटेशन जीएम से, इसमें टेक देम सीरियसली एंड रिक्वेस्ट टू यू ऑल. बाहर निकल चुके हैं अभी आप लोग उनसे. सो कहीं से भी, आई एम अ साइकोलॉजिस्ट आल्सो, I do connected with all those people, so many people. चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स बन गए हैं और वैसे भी हैं, बाहर मेरे सेशंस होते हैं, रेगुलर वो लोग बात करते हैं. पैन इंडिया ट्रैवल करता हूं मैं कॉर्पोरेट सेशंस लेने के लिए, रेगुलरली बात करते हैं. यू कैन ऑल्सो टॉक, कब भी कुछ हो रहा हो. आई चैलेंज, एक होता है करियर, एक होता है पैशन. आप सबका पैशन भी होगा एक साथ में, और जिसने अपने पैशन को अपना करियर बना लिया, गारंटीड सक्सेसफुल, गारंटीड. एज शिव खेड़ा टोल्ड, शिव खेड़ा एक बहुत अच्छे राइटर हैं, यू कैन विन इन इंग्लिश एंड हिंदी में जीत आपकी उनकी बुक है. उनका एक लाइन है, इट्स कॉल्ड विनर्स डोंट डू डिफरेंट थिंग्स, दे डू द थिंग्स डिफरेंटली. व्हाटएवर यू आर डूइंग, फिर से बोल रहा हूँ, कनाडा पहुंचने के लिए, वो सैलरी स्ट्रक्चर लेने के लिए, बिग 4 में जाने के लिए, दीज ऑल थिंग्स, इस सब कुछ विल बिकम अ वेरी कंफर्टेबल जर्नी टू रीच देयर. But a humble submission, polish your soft skills well. आप बिलीव नहीं करेंगे. और मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, एक और रिसर्च हम लोग करते रहते हैं, जितने सक्सेसफुल पीपल हैं, टाटास, बिरलास, अंबानी, दीज ऑल थिंग्स, इसका भी एक रिसर्च आया है, मैं आपको जानकारी दे देता हूँ. वो लोग भी अपनी काबिलियत का, कैपेसिटीज का मैक्सिमम टू मैक्सिमम 10% यूज करते हैं. मैक्सिमम. वुड यू बिलीव दैट? हम आप कितना यूज कर रहे हैं, या कर सकते हैं, या कर रहे होंगे? जस्ट इंट्रोस्पेक्ट. मीट द बेस्ट पर्सन इन द वर्ल्ड डेली. meet the best person in the world. And because it's not interactive, मैं answer भी देता हूँ. Do you all know who is the best person in your life? Anyone? फटाफट अगर कोई बता सके. The best person in your life. Okay. The best person in your life is you. The best person in my life is me. Need. दुनिया से हम राय लेते हैं, सजेशंस लेते हैं, बाहर बात करते हैं, वहां से पूछते हैं, ये करते हैं, सब कुछ करते हैं. Talk to yourself. And we psychologists call it self-talk. Self-talk करते हैं, शीशे के सामने खड़े हुए बात कर सकते हैं. Talk to the person जो आपको सामने दिख रहा है शीशे में. He'll be the best guide, best mentor, best person to suggest you so many things. Meet the best person. And you have extreme capacities. Explore them. And जो मैं career और passion की बात कर रहा था, anybody of you, CA की मैं बात नहीं करता, because I'm not a chartered accountant. But the second one, the passion. Anyone want to do anything in your life, I take guarantee, कोशिश नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, I take guarantee to take you there. I have all the scope in this rather pan world to get you there. But the thing is, you have to introspect first, right? So these all, as he told once again, I repeat, those all soft skills and mindset, all those communication skills, gratitude, sense of gratitude and leadership qualities, it's very much required. So work on these 3 A's at the end, I must tell. Number 1, because being a chartered accountant, it's ये 3 A आपके साथ हमेशा चलने चाहिए. आप इसका नोटेशंस या लाइफ में अपने माइंडसेट में बना के रख लीजिए. First A is your attire. Attire is your lookout. बहुत से outlook. Because कोई भी हमसे मिलता है, कभी भी सामने आता है, हम किसी के सामने जाते हैं, 2 चीजें उसके मन से या मुंह से निकलती हैं. Number 1 is आह, नहीं तो वाह. वो क्या करना है, depends upon you. Second A is attributes, and this second A is attributes, what all he told, all those soft skills, all those communication, confidence, presentation, these all things, everything comes under that. And that 87.5%, as Mr. Batliwala explained, and that research come out from Stanford University. Attributes. And third A is most powerful, and that is attitude. And your attitude defines your altitude. So let you all talk if we want to get our passion lively. Anything struck, any interview struck, how to face the interviews, how to go into the interviews, what all mindset should be there, what all preparation to be done, what all replies are to the questions and all, anything, anytime, you all can connect me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Atul sir. Thank you so much, Harsh. That's all from my end. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your motivational speech. So actually, जो आपने जो सब बोला actually वो true है कि हम लोग आधे लोग सब ऐसे ही tired होते हैं because of overthinking of our problems and all. The example which you gave of a son and a father. And I hope and I believe that people over here, our audience, are also motivated from your motivational speech. Now, I would like to call CA Navneet Pandey from Kanpur for a vote of thanks. CA Navneet, sir. So maybe he was thinking of joining late as Atul sir.
Yes, he was with us, but Abhi he is again joining us within 1 or 2 minutes. So thank you, Sushil ji, and thank you, Vivek bhai, in his absentia. I think today's session was some focus and how to, it was a focus along with our expertise कि और भी क्या चीजें हमें ध्यान में रखना चाहिए. because when we meet any person, any officer, any client or any social forum पे जब हम कभी जाते हैं, तो they are expecting a lot from us because we are from a profession which is the one of the most toughest profession of the world. So in general, हमारे सभी लोग ये सोचते हैं कि ये चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट है, इसको सब कुछ आता है, और सब कुछ आने के अलावा टेक्निकल प्रोफेशनल सब्जेक्ट की नॉलेज के साथ साथ हमें सोशियो इकोनॉमिक फैक्टर्स का भी ड्यान में रखते हुए जो आज
एक बात बोली, मैं सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट यू, कानपुर के लोग स्पेशली हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, अम्मा हमें क्या सिखाओगे, हम सब जानते हैं, सो वो तो है, दैट मैटर इज दिस।
बिल्कुल ठीक बात है, बट it may be eye opener for a few of us, it may be a guide for few of us, और कुछ लोगों को हो सकता है कि अच्छा ना लग रहा हो कि यार ये मेरे को क्या बता रहे हो, क्या डिस्कस कर रहे हो, क्या टॉपिक रख दिया, बट मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि whether we are going for the industry or we are going for our own practice, these are the very few points are to be very well discussed by the Sushil ji, and we should take care of all those issues. और कभी फिर से हम लोग सेशन इसका रख सकते हैं और डिटेल में बात कर सकते हैं, वर्कशॉप कर सकते हैं कि इसमें कोई हमारे शर्म की बात नहीं है, कोई हमको खराब नहीं लगना चाहिए कि ओवरऑल पर्सनालिटी में, एक चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट की पर्सनालिटी में उसको कैसे हम लोग और इंक्रीज कर सकते हैं, कैसे उसको हम अपनी सेल्फ इमेज को बढ़ा सकते हैं, कैसे हम अपना कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल बढ़ा सकते हैं, कैसे हम अपना एटीट्यूड को चेंज कर सकते हैं। जो अभी एक वीडियो में आपने चलाया था, ऑडियो चलाया था कि हमारे अंदर जो स्ट्रेस वरीज रहता है बच्चों में क्यों नहीं होता, बच्चे हमेशा क्यों मस्त, हम लोग थक क्यों जाते हैं, शाम होते होते हम क्यों थक जाते हैं, ऐसा क्या हमने कर दिया जो हम थक गए? बिकॉज वही बात है कि या तो हम पुरानी परेशानियां, पुराने खराब एक्सपीरियंस को दिमाग में रखते हैं, या कल क्या होगा, कल ये प्रॉब्लम है, कल वो प्रॉब्लम है, क्लाइंट की प्रॉब्लम है, फैमिली की प्रॉब्लम है, हेल्थ की प्रॉब्लम है, उसको ध्यान में हम सोचते हैं अरे यार कल क्या होगा। अरे भाई आज में जियो, आज में, और जो कल समस्या दिख रही है, समस्या नहीं, जो चैलेंज दिख रहा है, उस चैलेंज को कैसे फेस करना है, कुछ रीडिंग करके, कुछ सुशील जैसे भाइयों से, दोस्तों से मिल के बात करके, उनकी बात को सुन के हम लोग अपने अंदर एक ऐसी मजबूती ला सकते हैं, कॉन्फिडेंस ला सकते हैं अपने अंदर एक, जिससे कि हम उसको, उन चैलेंजेस को आसानी से फेस कर पाएंगे। और ये बिल्कुल तय है। अगर मैं अपनी बात करूं तो मुझे लगता है कि 14-15 घंटे काम करता हूं और अर्ली राइजर हूं, रात में 12 बजे भी सोऊंगा तो सुबह 6 बजे उठ जाऊंगा, 1 बजे रात में सोऊंगा तभी भी 6 बजे उठ जाऊंगा। तो वो बॉडी की क्लॉक, क्योंकि हमको दिख रहा है कि मुझे आज ये काम करने हैं, आई डोंट हैव एनी अदर ऑप्शन, मैं करूं या ना करूं। मेरे अंदर वो एंथुसियाज्म है, आपके अंदर भी वो है, लेकिन छुपा हुआ है, बस उसको बाहर लाने की बात, कि उस कमिटमेंट को, उस एंथुसियाज्म को, वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी को, वो सेंस ऑफ फील जो आपके अंदर एक अंदर से आता है, नहीं आई हैव टू डू दिस टुडे, टुमारो आई हैव टू डू दिस, ये तो मेरे को करना ही करना है। तो लेकिन साथ में हमें अपनी सेहत का भी ध्यान रखना है, अपने मेंटल फूड का भी ध्यान रखना है। तो दैट इज व्हाई दीज टाइप ऑफ सेशंस आर necessary for all be professional chartered accountant, for any professional, I think so. So I think Navneet ji has joined. So Navneet,
yes,
are you there?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Over to Navneet ji.
Thank you, sir. I would like to thank Atul sir, and on behalf, hello.
आवाज आ रही है?
आवाज आ रही है आपकी सर?
Okay. On behalf of CIRC, I would like to thank CA Vivek Kapoor sir, and sorry, and Sri Sushil Kumar Mishra ji, and as the session is really very motivative, and sorry.
कोई बात नहीं, नवनीत जी को थोड़ा सा कफ एंड कोल्ड हो रहा है।
उनकी तबीयत ठीक लग भी नहीं रही देख के।
हाँ, वो थोड़ा सा था, वो तो मैंने बस
So
कोई बात नहीं।
it was a great session
स्वीकार
and
करते हैं आपका धन्यवाद। No problem.
आप थोड़ा पानी पी लीजिए सर।
Take care. Take
no,
care.
no, no. Actually, no, it's a really great session and we really very motivate and as sir is still sir tell us about the how to behave and everything. So I'm really very thankful on behalf of CIRP. Thank you, sir.
सभी लोगों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और हमारे आज के जो एमओसी महोदय हैं वो हमारे बिल्कुल यंग चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हैं और उनको भी मैंने ये नई लोगों को साथ में लेके आना CIRC के प्लेटफॉर्म में, ऐसी कुछ हमारी मंशा है, पहल है हमारे टीम की। तो हम इसी तरह से और भी आप सब लोगों को भी इनवाइट करते हैं, जब भी आपको कुछ पार्टिसिपेट करने का मन हो तो प्लीज फील फ्री टू कॉल मी। थैंक यू ऑल द पार्टिसिपेंट्स। हाँ, थैंक यू, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। हर्ष, थैंक यू
सर।
हर्ष, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर बीइंग विद अस।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू फॉर द अपॉर्चुनिटी। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू ऑल द अटेंडेंस।
थैंक यू सर।